Hello, welcome to the Fantasmagorium Show. I'm Kat. Think I might be flying solo tonight. Don't know. For some reason, the co-hosts seem less than interested in showing up these days. But okay, I'm finally here for the F1 review, which I promised a long time ago. But then I said come hell or high water, I was going to do it November 6th, but then I fell and broke my leg, and that was the end of that. But let's see. We got people are here. Perk 130. So tell me what you want. What you really want. Okay. Nice. Full disclosure, I'm a huge F1 fan. Been that way since Lauda Hunt. Yep, Jackie Stewart's my favorite. This movie gave me a dozen aneurysms for accuracy, but I did enjoy it. Oh, absolutely. Oh, hey, Eric. Yeah, I was just finishing up the movie right now. I actually was lucky enough to pick up the 4K steelbook here. I should really have a brighter upstairs room, but yeah, so that was neat. I'm surprised that I guess it's from Warner Brothers releasing with Apple, so that's why I got a home media release. The racing scenes in this movie are really good. Like they tried to do for F1 what Top Gun Maverick did for Flying Jets, but the script is very predictable, very cheesy. Like you said, Herc, the accuracy is insane. Like this team just seems like amateur hour compared to what an actual F1 team is like. It's like, yeah, they wouldn't let you they wouldn't have gotten anywhere near the track doing the type of shit that they're doing. The back and forth between Sonny and the kid is kind of again predictable. They're doing the cheesy mentor thing, whatever. But everything seemed a bit too cookie cutter with the script, which is why at 2.5 hours I feel the movie's a bit too long. It feels a little better watching it at home, surprisingly. I mean, on the big screen, it was great. But I saw it a couple times in theaters, and I don't know, watching it at home, the pace seems a little bit better. But then again, it's been 5 months since I last saw it. Both the cast is pretty. Let's see what we got here. Ballerina, the greatest. The edits were quite bad during the races, too. They needed to let the shots breathe. Way too many cuts. That's true. It's because, yeah, kind of like in any good chase sequence, even if it's choreographed well, then you don't need cuts to try and simulate action. It's like F1, the sport that is already pretty awesome. You don't need to do a million cuts. And it's like, did they watch actual F1 races to prepare for this? Because if you did, then you realize that the action of that speaks for itself. You're right. They don't need to try and create arbitrary drama with 1,000,001 cuts going back and forth. And I'm not sure what the impetus was that if you're trying to advertise Formula One as like make a really great Formula One movie, why is it like not just an underdog story, but a really like here's your underdogs and here are these guys way down here. Maybe that was the way they figured they would justify having 60-year-old Brad Pitt's character be the driver, because obviously I guess a successful team wouldn't have like a 60-year-old driver. Oh, and by the way, today's December 18th, so happy birthday, Brad Pitt, turned 62 today. So I guess it was prudent that this review got delayed till now. Cast is fine. Carrie Condon, fine. It's like, oh, okay, I recognize her from Banshees of Inisherin, and when Sonny asked her, "What's it feel like to be the first woman of blah blah blah?" the technical team was like, "Who cares?" It's like I kind of rolled my eyes at that because it's like, does it really matter? I'm pretty sure she doesn't care either. Let's see. Oh, DJ Play Nice, up and share out the live. Thanks, DJ. Welcome. Glad you're dropping by. Scott, I believe, had something going on with a friend tonight, and he still hasn't seen the movie despite having 5 months to see it. I did send out the link to other people. Hopefully other people show up. F1 I still watch. I admit I'm going to watch it more now that I got Hulu Live because I can actually record the races instead of having to get up at ungodly hours to try and record it, or when I'm at work and I miss the races. So that'll be nice. Today is your wife's birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday to Mrs. Herc 130. Happy birthday from the Fantasmagorium Show. Let's see, DJ. Thanks for hosting, stopping by, saying hi, leave a like. Thank you. Yes, we'll have fun. The replay crew. I hope some people show up. I did sent it out to quite a few people. Ernesto, surprisingly, is going to catch an Avatar screening at 11 o'clock at night. I don't know what the impetus was to go see a movie that with trailers is going to be nearly 4 hours long at 11 o'clock at night on a Thursday. But okay, whatever floats your boat. I'll be seeing that tomorrow with a couple other things. But yeah, I love racing. I admit I watch NASCAR more often because the schedule's a bit more predictable. But F1's my favorite in terms of the actual racing. It is quite awesome. But the sheer amount of crap that they're doing in this movie with the Plan C, where they deliberately try and wreck everybody and they're not getting slapped with fines. But it's like, wait a minute. There's a point in the film where the administration's like, okay, we know what you're doing, so we're going to dock you and put you at the back of the field. It's like, well, if you know what they're doing and that they're sabotaging, then you would be slapping them with fines and suspensions by now if this were real. So, again, if you're an F1 fan or a motorsports fan, that kind of stuff breaks your immersion quite a bit. Ballerina's the greatest. They should have had Brad Pitt come in and want to win the big one, the one he never won. And the young kid, Damson Idris, is like, this old timer isn't stealing my shine. They should have just built into that. Yeah, I don't know. Well, like for especially for such a competitive sport like F1, to have your protagonist be a guy who's just totally apathetic to everything, because everybody keeps asking him throughout the movie, "Why is Sonny Hayes here? Why are you back?" And no, it's not just to help Ruben. So why are you really back? And he never really has an answer. So that was again kind of surprising. And then you have the kind of cheesy romance that's in there with him and Carrie Condon, which is there because I guess some analytics person decided that we have to go down the checklist of things that we need in this movie. And you know, even when they had the little poker scene where she's like, okay, whoever wins the poker game gets to call the thing tomorrow. I'm like, okay, Brad's going to win, but he's going to lie and say that he lost. Spoilers. Because that's how predictable every beat of the movie. And it admittedly, it does get a little annoying after a while. And as I'm watching it, Sonny, they've just won the race and Sonny's leaving. Doesn't want to touch the trophy because of something to do with bad luck if you touch the trophy. I don't know if that's something they made up for this movie or if that's like some actual thing. I don't think it's an actual thing. I should probably mention in sad news in the motorsports world today, former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and his family were killed in a Cessna crash earlier this morning, which is really sad. God, he was only 5 days short of his 56th birthday. One of his kids killed in the crash, only 5 years old. Shit. But that was really sad. Yeah, motorsport. It's like I almost wish they did this as like have the movie just be like one race, but you use that insane cinematography that you saw in like Top Gun Maverick, but use that just up like the way they built some of these IMAX cameras. They built smaller versions of them and designed them to be able to mount them on the side of the cars. But again, the editing, as mentioned, it just kind of like let it speak for itself. Don't do like when you have the cameras mounted like that just looks amazing. So I think it would have been better if they just had it be this one big race and you actually go through the whole motions. Like it starts with all the pre-race ceremonies and stuff and everybody's get their first race jitters and then you just build up to it and have the whole movie just be the one race. I wonder if that may have been a more bold decision. Like here, the final scene when he's showing up for the Baja, God, what's it called? The Baja 500 or 5,000, whatever it's called. Or the Baja 1000. I would like to see him race that. Not that there's going to be a sequel. I mean, I've heard talks that Bruckheimer was considering having him and Tom Cruise's character from Days of Thunder meet up in a crossover movie, but we'll see. Herc says Piastri and Norris for McLaren got disqualified for too much wear on their planks of 8.88 and 8.93, with the 9mm being the limit. What would they have done to Brad Pitt and the team in real life? Like I said, the fact that they were aware that they were like deliberately fudging the results, not only does that receive penalties, but that can receive an absolute ban. Like there was an issue like that when on the NASCAR side of things, when Michael Waltrip Racing imploded because it found they were manipulating races by telling certain drivers on the team to try and do what you can to bring out a caution or arbitrarily wreck to help out the guys up front. And when they caught red-handed doing that, they got like the death penalty of, the whole team was basically shut down. So you do stuff like that, and especially in F1, which is, I mean, obviously all motorsports are dangerous, but with F1, it's like insanely dangerous to like the bit when he deliberately clips the wing of the car on Verstappen going around the corners. Like that is, I mean, I'm sorry, that's going to get you banned doing stuff like that because you could kill somebody doing that very easily. So I didn't buy that the only thing that would happen would be them getting docked. You're getting slapped with fines and suspensions, if not a complete death penalty for your team at that point. Okay, here we go. The credits are rolling. He's driving in his dune buggy on the beach or through the sand dunes. I did think it was funny how you have the kid and then his friend who's like his social media assistant, and he's telling him all the things he has to do to like get the name out there. And it's true. You got to go all the events. You got to live stream everything. You got to post photos, and it's like the whole the marketing aspect, kind of like how every racetrack in a sense doesn't even have a name. It's named after whatever the sponsor is. That really bugs me in NASCAR too. They'll say, "Oh, here's the Food City 500." It's like, well, that doesn't tell me anything about what the race is or where it is, So I thought that was funny how that guy's constantly dogging the kid throughout the movie about, "Oh, you gotta stream this, you gotta stream that." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna hang out with my mom. Definitely don't stream that, bro." So I like that. And the guy at the head of the team, the captain of the team, who keeps reminding everybody that he has 5 championships with Ferrari, and he keeps saying that over and over again. I'm like, okay, calm down. And it's like, you have 5 championships with them, but you're on this losing team. Okay. The villain, if you want to call him that, I could see through him a mile away. It's like, yeah, okay, clearly you want this team to fail. So, and it's funny, you would think, I mean, the rules are set up that way. Like the board can't have some aggressive takeover to say, well, we're just going to go in a different direction. It's like, no, they are entitled to try and win a race before that would happen. So that was kind of that's a little subplot that again, predictable, doesn't really go anywhere. I'm just looking up the guy's name real quick. I know I should have known this in advance. This is what happens when I fly solo. Is it, am I got right? I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, it is Tobias Menzies. Yeah. Peter. Yeah, it says his character's name was Peter Banning, and every time they mentioned his name in that movie, which is a couple times, I just kept thinking of Robin Williams and Hook because that's his character's name, Peter Banning. So I thought that was kind of funny. But then there's other things like oh, we're gonna run the length of the entire racetrack before the race. It's like, do you know how many miles these tracks are? And you're just gonna casually run laps around it. You're gonna be like burnt. The rest of your team, many of whom aren't in great shape, are gonna be burned out when they get back. But yeah, I just feel that they tried to cover too many races in this movie because they're rushing through a lot of the races, and they felt more like montage sequences than they did like great racing scenes. So I think they should have stuck with just one race, or like Ballerina said, have it be Sonny's trying to get that one last race, and have it be a unique thing. Because here's the thing: realistically, I wouldn't think the board or even Ruben in that position would think it's a great idea when his job's on the line to try and bring a 60-year-old veteran back who hasn't done anything in decades. And I didn't believe for a second that Ruben didn't know the extent of his injuries, because if they were friends back, the rivals or whatever, when people get in accidents like that on the track, it's a really tight-knit community. Everybody looks out for each other and they follow what's going on. I didn't buy that Ruben wasn't aware of how banged up he was, and you should never race it. I think, yeah, okay, we're doing that. The one thing I did miss is that Damon Idris, his character, the kid, he was bringing Sonny a present in the hospital, and he heard Ruben chastising Sonny in there, and so he set the present down, and it was wrapped, but I don't know what the present was. Feel free to chime in if you know what it was. Okay, Ballerina says there was complete silence from my audience in the auditorium during that one crash that Jameson goes through. Yeah, and some of the crashes are like that, but they did like a little slow motion thing, which I admit that kind of bugged me. It's like I want to see it like as fast as it would actually happen, sort of like you saw in the Ferrari movie, the one that Michael Mann made, where at the 1957 Mile Miglia, the car hit the reflector that was bent up in the roadway, and the car flipped, hit a phone pole, and then hit a sign, and then tumbled into all those people. And they did that without slow motion. They did it in like real time. Well, yeah, effects and stuff, but it's like, oh my god, it's insane. So it was a pretty intense. I mean, I'm sure if you saw this in IMAX with the sound, because if it's shot in IMAX on IMAX film, then the visuals would look different. if it's not shot on IMAX film, like if it's just a digital movie, like for instance, this past week, I don't know if it happened in your area, but The Shining got an IMAX release. I didn't go see it because I'm still got the broken leg, and it's like, I didn't want to deal with the hassle of taking the bus and the train down there with a wheelchair and all that. But I'm thinking, I know obviously The Shining was shot on film, but it's not an IMAX film movie. So it's like, other than the fact that it was being blown up on a big screen, and The Shining isn't particularly a loud movie that the sound that I would imagine the speakers in an IMAX theater would take advantage of. But if you saw F1 in IMAX, the sound obviously is like that's made for that, having some of those. But it was also IMAX digital, which is what they shot it in, and to me that's not really IMAX. But the sound would have been, I imagine, amazing. I just saw it in my regular theater a couple times. Ooh, great! So yes, you saw it in F1 IMAX at 190. Oh yes, the 190 aspect ratio. That is awesome. I'm sure that was a really great experience. Because The Shining was so good, the Red Rum reveal and zoom in on Wendy's face was hair-raisingly shocking. Yeah, my friend went to see it, and he said the thing that kind of struck him. He's like, I wasn't prepared for seeing Shelley Duvall's face blown up 5 stories tall. I thought that was funny. But I'll wait another 5 years when the 50th anniversary. I'm sure they'll re-release it in IMAX, and I'll be walking again by then, so I can get a better seat. Because sitting in the wheelchair section at the top isn't great. I want to sit kind of down into the middle, so it's like you can feel the screen really imposing on you. For that matter, I know I'm not gonna see the new Avatar in IMAX because I missed Avatar 2 in IMAX, but the native 3D was still so good at my regular theater that sitting towards the front rows, it was just as good. In terms of the visual experience. This movie, one of the times I saw it in a theater, I saw it really close to the screens. I just wanted, because I knew they were going to be mounting the cameras on the side of the car, and it was really impressive while they were doing it. But again, so many of the races in this movie felt like montage sequences, like they were just trying to cover way too many races. And then to your point about the editing being all over the place and just a bit too much editing, so that was a bit annoying and kind of cut it down a bit. And then when you consider the cheese factor and the predictability factor of the story, like, did the movie need to be 2.5 hours long? No. Despite being paced a bit more. As for acting, I mean, nice to see Brad Pitt in the big lead role again. He doesn't do many of those anymore because he's much more into being a producer with his Plan B company. And yes, I did hear the rumor that he was being courted for a role in the Batman Part 2. And whilst Deadline debunked that, saying that his 2026 schedule is too busy, Matt Reeves did say that he was going to Plan B in the early stages of the second movie. So maybe he was considered, because, Warner Brothers is a distributor, but they have other production companies for that. So maybe they were considering going to Brad Pitt for a role at some point. Maybe. But I guess that's for a topic for another stream. Or not, because nobody showed up, and I've been kind of, I think Ernesto's having a nap right now before his movie, and Scott's out with a friend, and I offered Steve to come on, and and I sent the link out to some other people, but so far we are flying solo. Let's see. Herc says F1 the movie had Jerry Bruckheimer's fingerprints all. Oh, absolutely. This is definitely a Jerry Bruckheimer production, and for that matter, I would say this movie significantly better than Days of Thunder. Because I thought Days of Thunder got sidetracked by two things. One, the whole, oh, you got in a bad accident and, oh, you're too afraid. Are we going to come back? It's like, dude, that's not a thing in the motorsports world. Like, the people who do this type of stuff for a living, they're brave. They love it. They're addicted to it. They're not thinking about, okay, I got in a bad accident. Like, sometimes a driver retires after that, either, but usually it's because it's medically necessary, or because very rarely do they actually want to give up. Like, the idea that, like, when a lay person who's not in the motorsports world writes a movie script about it, and they're obligated to write a bad crash scene in it, they can't wrap their heads around the idea of the driver wanting to get back in the car. And so that becomes a whole subplot that takes over the movie. And that's not just in Days of Thunder. It's been in other motorsports films I've seen too. A lot of lesser ones that nobody would have heard of. But it's like, oh, God, it got sidetracked from that. And then the romance in that movie was very arbitrary and contrived and just dragged on. I'm like, can't we focus more on the Tom Cruise character just racing and shit, So when they said they wanted to do a crossover, I'm like, okay. I mean, I didn't think of, I guess it'd be fun to see Brad and Tom in I guess would it be a Formula One movie or a NASCAR or meet halfway an IndyCar thing? I don't know. But I think as far as that goes, this movie was more enjoyable than Days of Thunder as far as those Jerry Bruckheimer productions go. And I like that that Jerry's still trying to make these big blockbuster endeavors. Uh, Herc says Days of Thunder has tropes in it: man versus man, man versus machine, man versus nature, man versus self. Absolutely, it does have a lot of that. But that's a movie where I also would have preferred them having more racing. It's ironic in this movie. It's like there's too many separate races when it should have been a couple, maybe one or two of them. Whereas in Days of Thunder, there wasn't enough racing. Period, because so much of it is just trying to come back from, the brink of the crash. But the c'est la vie. Speaking of which, I spoilers, I know Max Verstappen won the championship this year. Not surprising. He was doing really well. I heard the last race was a banger. I haven't seen it yet. I recorded the last few races this season. I haven't gotten to them yet to watch them. Same with NASCAR. I was following that, but I after I broke my leg and was in the rehab in the hospital for a while, I missed out on the finale of that. Well, I didn't miss out on it. I already have it set to record. You just got to get back and watch it to see how that turned out. Yeah. I'm surprised that the movie did as well as it did, because a lot of people, Joseph Kosinski, yeah, he's coming off of, Top Gun Maverick, but I think that movie being successful as it wasn't so much because of the director as it was, everybody liked the idea of seeing Top Gun again. So I'm kind of surprised this movie did as well as it did at a 2.5-hour length, especially in the era when people are like, oh, movie stars aren't really relevant anymore. Do they bring in the dollars? And this made up over like 600. So that was pretty surprising. That was pretty good. And this is a movie also that didn't make the bulk of its money opening weekend. It actually had legs and was able to build a gradual following, which is, it had staying power in the summer. So that's good. Something to be said about extending theatrical windows and not shortening them like Netflix wants to do. But that's for another stream as well. Yeah. Though regarding the Top Gun thing, I remember I really didn't like the original Top Gun. I thought it was really bad. I'm like, this is the most 80s thing I've ever seen, and there's not a punk or a mullet in sight, but it's still the most 80s thing I've ever seen, but not in the fun way. This being much better than that as well. Let's see. Are there any other films or any other questions about this one in particular? Let's see. I've managed to eat up 22 minutes talking about it. I wish there was somebody else here to talk about it. What did I do recently? Here's something I did recently. I picked up this gargantuan omnibus of Batman by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, and I reread The Long Halloween and Dark Victory the other day. Oh, God. Wrist breakers. Have to build extra strong shelves to hold that shit. Also got a Superman steelbook in the mail I got off eBay. So I scored there. Oh yeah, Top Gun was the coolest crappy movie from the 80s. Everybody loved Top Gun. Yeah, that was a big thing. I bought into the hype, and I bought the 4K steelbook sight unseen, and I watched it, and I was like, this is the movie everybody's raving about. But I'm like, maybe I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing. But then again, there's a lot of 80s movies I absolutely love. I have like a collection of nearly 200 digital 80 movies on digital from the 80s, and then a bunch 4Ks and Blu-rays of 80s films. So, because I grew up watching a lot of 80s movies and 70s films in the 90s. Yeah, but that one just didn't do it for me. I think Risky Business was a much better film of his from the 80s. That would be fun to see a legacy sequel of Risky Business, wouldn't it? Oh, that'd be funny. Maybe it would be a much more sophisticated type of brothel he'd be running this time, with a little casino in the backyard. That could be fun. Lemon Pie. Hey, Lemon Pie. What's going on? Nice to see you. We didn't have a show last week. That's right. I was trying to remember. Did I see Gran Turismo? Lots of this. Yes, I did. And I was really disappointed with that one, because that was based on a true story as well. And to me, the most fascinating thing about the Gran Turismo storyline was the idea that they're picking these gamers to try and put them in the actual car. So to me, the best part of the film was relegated to not quite a montage, but almost a montage where the one kid excels beyond all the others to be selected. But after that, it becomes a very generic kind of going through the motions type of racing thing. I'm like, no, your movie should be the focus on how this guy's moving through the training program and beating out, because that just seems insane to me that you're going to take some gamers and make them and put them in a real car like that. That should have been the focus of that movie rather than just just another following all those same beats. So I gave that one, Gran Turismo, I gave that 3 out of 5. I think that could have been a lot better. Oh, I gotta stop this real quick. It's it automatically starts playing again on the disc if you leave the menu floating too long. Oh shit. Okay, come on. There we go. Back to this menu. There we go. All right. But you're right, because it's like, yeah, Orlando Bloom in Gran Turismo was basically the Javier Bardem character here. And then, yeah, David Harbour kind of is the guy sticking up for him. Admittedly, he didn't have the Brad Pitt character, but, same type of idea. Which, again, that's another movie where they felt, let's have like an underdog type scenario of breaking into the sport. It's like, if you want to make a movie advertising the sport, especially with this one calling it F1 the movie, then maybe you should have had the main character be like a regular popular driver or something. And, well, I mean, a fictional character, obviously, but like a driver who's already the best and not so much an underdog story, at least not in that sense, and really advertise the professionalism and the insanity of F1. I know, for instance, the studio put on a special screening for F1 drivers in New York, and even right before the movie started, guys like Max Verstappen just got up and left the room. Like, they didn't even care. They weren't gonna watch it because I think they already knew what it was. But it's funny because you watch it and it feels. I know Lewis Hamilton was a producer on it, and I'm like, okay, that tracks because the movie is so cheesy or so paint by numbers that, you're not. They didn't rush out and get the best screenwriters for this. So it kind of, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But if they make another one, maybe they'll call it, maybe they'll do F2. Okay, no, that's a bad joke. Sorry. The steelbook has a little dent in it. Let's see what else is going on. I guess this is almost going to start becoming a pseudo Cats movie corner. Because I haven't actually watched all the bonus features on this Blu-ray yet. So, it's funny. The original name of the show was going to be like Tires, Pit Stops, and Cars or something like that. And Scott's like, no, we got to call it Faster, Faster, Faster. And he really put his foot down on that. So I relented. And then after like 3 episodes, he bailed on the series and then bailed on the channel. I'm like, why did you put your foot down so much to change the title of the series if you didn't want to hang around and actually review all the movies? And he was like, Scott being Scott. Ballerina says that's another thing. They should have built up to that race with Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, and Lewis Hamilton was just kind of minorly mentioned in the last race. And again, he's a producer on the movie and he's an F1 driver, so of course they're going to do that. But yeah, they could have built up to that one too, but they didn't. Oh God. Yeah, I'd say Verstappen was already a driver I liked even before he started winning like crazy. Hamilton's okay. It depends on who you're going to follow, but I'm kind of a fan of what I call like electric driving, like, or same thing with basketball. Is it like electric basketball? Meaning, like, is it really fun? Like, if it feels like a game of Pong on a basketball court where they're just going back and forth, and if there's no energy to it, then I don't care. But if it's a team with some really great player, then it really fires off on all cylinders and it becomes entertaining for me. Same thing with a lot of motorsports. Like, which of the drivers are going to take more chances, and really push it, even if it comes at the expense of pissing off everybody else. Let's see. Herc says Brad Pitt would have kicked Hamilton's ass if Hammy was driving Ferrari at the time. Probably. That's true. That was another funny thing. This movie tries to vilify Ferrari, even though it's like a non-entity in the film. Like, when you have the interview with the team captains and they're talking about how, Apex's plan C causing so much havoc to everybody. And they're like, hey, what does Ferrari think about their team? We don't. And it's like, and they say it like this kind of veiled insult, but like, no, he's right. They shouldn't think about them. But it's the same thing in Ford v Ferrari, where it's like, oh, let's vilify make Ferrari the villains, and which is a kind of a weird marketing ploy for that movie too, because it wasn't much of a competition since Ferrari blew the engines in all three of their cars, so it didn't end up really being much of a competition between those two brands. Yeah, trying to hint at that for Ferrari for this one, I thought was kind of okay. Yeah. Maybe that tracks because that's a company which makes cars that, I mean, at least they're the few sports cars they still make are like millions of dollars. I mean, they did the Ferrari Daytona SP3 a couple years ago. That was only people who had already spent $2 million at the company, I think, $2 million or more, or something, whatever ridiculously high number, were even allowed to buy it. And they made like, I think what was it, 199 or was it 499? I don't know why it wasn't the solid zero number, but whatever. And I remember seeing somebody look at the car, and it's like the outside looked gorgeous, but the inside looked really, really cheap, and I didn't understand why. So I guess that would be, I mean, I'd be upset if I spent $2 million on a bitchin' looking car on the outside and opened it, and it looked worse than my 90s Honda Civic. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I'm tired. Again, this is what happens when I fly solo. Let's see. Oh, I got this is something I could show off. I've got some new steelbooks here lately. I could show you. Here's one I got from Groove. Black Christmas, the original from 1974. That's a classic. They got tons of bonus features on this. I was very impressed, especially considering that this movie doesn't really enter the slasher horror movie lexicon in the way that, Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and Friday the 13th does. And then the other new one I have here, I mentioned earlier, I will grab this one here. I got Superman. So you take the flip cover off and the doors open. So that's kind of neat. It's funny because the advertising, they screwed up on the print job, because it includes a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc with bonus features in the movie on both. But the J card that comes with it says the 4K digital code. So it's like, okay, so you got the Blu-ray disc on there as well. But that was kind of neat. So I thought that was kind of funny. But so that was that. Let's see. What else did I get here? Let's see. Oh, the other new one I got was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I was waiting for them to put this one out because I was like, this has its 50th anniversary this year. And so they finally put that out on 4K. I've been waiting a long. I've not owned this movie in any format before, so it was nice to finally have it. I was hoping they would do the same for Dog Day Afternoon, which is, again, 50th anniversary this year, one of my all-time favorites, and they didn't do it. Or even this other one from 1975, The Man Who Would Be King. This is an excellent film by John Huston. 50th anniversary this year. They did not do a 4K. Again, it's Warner Brothers. Come on, guys. Their archive collection is really great, but they got to pick up the pace, I'd say, just a little bit. But I did get. I think I showed off Dirty Harry before. I got that one. I would like it if they put the second Dirty Harry film, Magnum Force, on 4K, because I actually think the second one's the best. Which might be controversial, but that's what this show is for. Controversy. I was actually really impressed with the fact that Brad Pitt actually learned how to drive a Formula One car for this movie, even though I'm pretty sure they probably swapped out with stunt drivers a few times, but that's not an easy thing to do, obviously. So that was kind of impressive. And the fact that they actually filmed this movie concurrently with the F1, the 2024 F1 season, it's like that's kind of nuts. And I get it because it will save you a lot of money to not have to bring in crowds and all the other teams and stuff. But it just seems like that would be insanely complicated to try and put everybody, get the whole film crew and everything in there, and for them to have to be accommodating to the film crew while they're trying to have a big championship, or their whole F1 season at the same time. So that was kind of nuts that they were able to pull that off. See, we got any other questions in the chat here? 35 minutes. Nobody's chiming in on my. I was hoping somebody else would jump in on from where I sent out all the links. Let's see here. Maybe somebody responded. Nope. 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 Nobody responded. That's just wonderful. Oh, here's some breaking news. Sony Pictures is set to take control of the Peanuts franchise in a $457 million deal. Again, overpaying for franchises. It's becoming a thing these days. Don't understand it. I don't get it. Is there any other topics or movies you might want me to? We covered 11 movies last time. I improperly wrote that it was only going to be 10 because I forgot about one of them that we ended up mentioning in the video. So that's why the number is off. But if there's any other films you guys want me to talk about, I'm not sure if I've seen much since then. Let's see. Or at least I got to double check the release schedule to see if we covered it or not. I saw that new James Brooks film, Ella McKay. That wasn't any good. About like a collection of subplots with no main plot. No proper resolutions to any of the stories. It's kind of bouncing around. I think that was the only other new one I watched since I last spoke with all of you. Let's see here, diary. I did go back and see the re-release of One Battle After Another. I liked it better this time. I went back and revisited The Wolf of Wall Street for the first time in like 8 years, and I liked that a little bit more than when I previously had seen it. Other movies I saw for the first time, Be Kind, Rewind. That was kind of fun, but it felt like it just kind of abruptly ended. And it does require you to go along with the absurdity of it, that people would actually like watching these crappy instead of watching the real movie, let's watch these little crappy reenactments. But that was cute. And it looks like it. I haven't seen. Everything else I've seen lately. I mentioned. I did my review of Wake Up Dead Man, best mystery of the 3 Knives Out movies, but not as fun as the previous two. Yeah. So I guess that's where we're at. Well, I wish I had more to say. I mean, I'm sure that if I had a wingman, I'd probably be going further. Yeah, but you're my friends. You can give Scotty shit about it on his other channels. Like when he shows up on Jill's channel, and you can say, "Hey, you're leaving Cat hanging here." That'd be kind of funny. But all right, and I guess there's no reason for me to sit here awkwardly. Here I got this neat ILM 50th anniversary T-shirt earlier this year. So that's kind of nice. I did get to go down to ILM to Lucasfilm headquarters in San Francisco a couple months ago, and you can go inside the lobby there and take pictures of the little mini museum they have, and took pictures at the Yoda fountain outside. Went to the Yoda fountain in San Anselmo, which has the Indiana Jones statue right behind it, because both Star Wars and Indiana Jones were created in San Anselmo in 73 and 74. So that was cool to go on a little road trip to see that. You are reacting exactly the way I did at the end of the movie. Nailed it. Thank you. Yeah. That's also the last movie I saw with my dad this year. He's into motorsports and stuff. And he thought it was okay. Yeah. Uh, well, I guess that's it. I mean, I haven't had many exciting adventures lately as I've been rehabbing this leg. Um, yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna see Avatar 3 and maybe The Housemaid, and next week I'll see Marty Supreme. Probably safe to say we might have a show Christmas night because I mean after Christmas dinner it's not like we're doing anything because we never really go anywhere or have people over for Christmas anyway. And I think Steve's already said he's open to having a Christmas party show, so look forward to that, or be on the lookout for that I should say. Uh, so that'll be fun. Um, we haven't done one of those in a while, actually. Last time we did that, some guy who will not be named was brought on as a one of the guests and just started shitting all over Christmas and hating everything about it and killing the vibe like immediately, and that kind of soured us on Christmas specials for a couple years. But we'll be getting back to that hopefully next week, and we'll maybe cover the Avengers trailers. Uh, uh, some people I heard were upset because they bought their tickets and they didn't want to see Avatar. They just wanted to see the trailer and they went in there and then they didn't play it, whereas other theaters did. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm sure we'll hear about it soon. Uh, Herc says, broke my leg a long time ago. What a pain that was. It was probably 6 months from break to back to normal. Still hurts when the weather changes. Yeah, and I've broken this one twice now. The first one time I fell and I was I'll tell this story. It was November 13th, 2022. My friend had called me up and wanted to go to this little theater. It's like Sacramento has a lot of these old Victorian houses, most of which are all law offices now. And in the basement of one of them, these two ladies in their 30s had rented it out from the law office upstairs to make it like a little Nickelodeon style movie theater with a really small room, relatively smaller screen with some seats. And we went there my friend wanted to go see some Italian Gallo film called Lizard in a Woman's Skin, or Green Lizard in a Woman's Skin, I think it was called. And so we watched the movie and it ends. And when it was over, it was like pitch dark in this room. And the people in the front row could just stand up and get right in there. But the seats were slightly elevated, but not much. And I knew to my left was a pair of swinging double doors. And I knew there was a little ledge there. And I knew it was going to be awkward to try and feel my way down. And I don't know how it happened. I must have missed it by like half an inch or something. But I fell. And even though I knew it was a pair of swinging double doors, you put your hands out anyway. And when I thought I was going to hit the ground, I was only halfway through the fall. I landed on my left hip, and it didn't hurt because it happened so fast, but I fractured my left femur in 3 places at the hip joint and then broke my upper left arm. And I was in hospital and rehab for like 10 days, or about almost 2 weeks actually. Missed Thanksgiving. And yeah, I got home the Saturday after Thanksgiving from the rehab clinic, but it was a nicer rehab clinic than the one I just went to. And then I had hardware in there, permanent hardware, and I lost. Usually my left leg was stronger than the right. The left leg is the one I would lead with going upstairs, but now I got to use railings on stairwells now because I just don't have that strength in that left leg anymore. And then this time I slipped in a parking lot and the lower half of the left leg slid in a different direction than where it was going. And even though they put in a ton of hardware, it the lower half of the leg is slightly off center from where it was before the break, which is gonna be kind of awkward. Let me see. I think I got the picture here actually of the X-ray. It's really gnarly. Let's see. I got it here. I think. Or I mean, I know I have it with somebody here. Let's see. Oh, that's right. I went to the Sacramento Auto Museum last week, and they had the Cobra that Christian Bale's character drives in the beginning of F1 when he gets disqualified and he throws the wrench and he breaks the windshield. Apparently, he wasn't supposed to hit the windshield, and everybody on the crew was frustrated because they thought, "Oh crap, that means we're gonna have to come back tomorrow and do the whole setup for a couple shots." But then James Mangold looked at it and thought, "You know what? I kind of like it. We'll leave it the way it is." And now that car's owned by a stunt guy, and he confirmed that Christian Bale was never driving the actual cars in that movie. But he does have the Cobra from the beginning, so that's kind of neat that he had it on loan at the museum. Let's see where. Okay, I know where it is. Let me pull up this picture. I don't know why I don't have. Almost got it. Almost got it. Let's see. Where? There we go. Scroll up. Scroll up. Here we go. See, look at that shit. I don't know if you can even tell because of the breath, but you can kind of see the amount of hardware there. I mean, you can't really see it because of the glare, but it's like right below the left knee, all those rods and screws and nails, and it kind of looks like the number 7 with a bunch of rods coming off the grid. It's kind of nuts. But yeah, that's gonna take a while. But I already set a goal for myself. I bought tickets to Comic-Con next year. I've never been there, San Diego Comic-Con, so I better be ready by then. So that might have been Christian Bale just being Christian Bale. Yeah, that's funny. I love it when another driver asks Miles what happened to your window. Miles answers aerodynamics. You win, sadly. Oh god, yeah. Ouch. Yep. I usually am very busy the last 3 months of the year, but then this just had to happen. It's like, of course, things are going too well. Something bad has to happen. Typical. Now I don't know the name of the stunt driver who was driving most of the cars at F1, even though it wasn't him. But that's why it was kind of more impressive that Brad Pitt actually drove the F1 car for some of the movie. So that's kind of neat. I assume that Jameson Idris did as well. Well. What else did I do lately? There's not much else going on. I know Back to the Future recently celebrated its 40th anniversary. So I was gonna see that in theaters when they re-released it, but I was not. So, I got that trilogy on Steelbook up there, 4K. They're kind of nice. I think I might be getting close to wrapping it up, unless somebody has another topic they want me to talk about. I'll be more than happy to take suggestions from the chat. Or I can just show off some of my collection here. Like here's yeah, here's one, The Fog by John Carpenter. This has got the shiny, all the killer ghosts. This is a really neat cover for a steelbook. I like this one. And this Point Reyes lighthouse in the back. I've actually been here, the Point Reyes lighthouse, and the lighthouse itself was closed for renovation at the time, but it was like, I mean, they ain't kidding. The fog comes in there, and I can see why they call the town nearby Inverness, because it looks like Scotland when the fog has rolled in and you have the elk running around out there, and it's like, man, if it weren't for the lack of tax credits, you could have filmed the climax of Skyfall over here, because it's just that it just looks the same. But then other days you could go out there and it's bright and sunny. It's unbelievable. That's another thing. I've never actually been down to Bodega Bay either, where they shot the birds. I've always driven on roads around it to bypass the traffic going down there, but I've never actually been to Bodega Bay. So I might have to make a trip down there sometime. I know that the old house where they shot most of the birds in the climax was torn down, and now it's they built at its place the housing for like university students who are doing science projects down at the coast there. So okay, whatever, and they do have a place called the Birds Cafe. I don't think it's the actual cafe from the movie when the birds attack the town center there, but I mean, that's just what they call it, the Birds Cafe. Again, I haven't been down to downtown Bodega there, so I'm not sure, but I suppose I should go over there. Like I went up to Santa Rosa. I didn't go further north to Healdsburg to hit all the different Scream locations. I know the house that they used for Stu Macher's house in the first Scream movie is now an event center where they mostly do weddings. And every once in a while, on not every Halloween, but every 2 or 3 years maybe, they'll host like a raffle, and you can come to the house with friends and stay there overnight on Halloween, and they give you VHSs and a VCR player to watch the Scream movies on while they have paid actors in like Ghostface outfits or whatever prank calling you or stalking you throughout the house, which is kind of funny. I would love to do that if I knew about it in advance. Uh, Herc says I've been watching SAS Rogue Heroes lately. Great series, loosely based on true events. Loosely. Ooh, I haven't heard of that series. What is that on? Is that on a streamer? Where might we find that? I intend, as far as series go, I'm still watching the Chief of War show with Jason Momoa about the civil wars between the Hawaiian tribes, which resulted in the unification of all the tribes down there under Kamehameha. I'm watching that still. Welcome to Derry, kind of watching. I watched the Task show on HBO Max. That was pretty good. Just got renewed for a second season. No, it wasn't set up for a second season, so you could still watch it if you just want to watch something that has an actual ending. I find another. I got to start watching Severance again. I watched the pilot last month when I had the laptop in my room and I was still laid up in bed. And I think I wasn't in the right mindset to watch it. I got to start it again because everybody says great things about that show. I tried watching this other one called Palm Royale, and that I didn't care for that one. Okay, MG, here it is. Okay, this is on MGM Plus, YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, and Netflix. Ooh, okay. So it's okay. So this must be not as much of a current show. So it's actually been leasing everywhere. So that's. I will. Ooh, do I have? I don't have any of those. Those are the ones I don't have. But I'll still look up the show nonetheless. Watch clips on YouTube or something. Yeah, Netflix just got. Well, actually, I never had a Netflix account. My sister paid like an extra $6 to have an extra household on it, and so that's how I got Netflix. Oh, HBO Max as well. Then I will check that out because I do have HBO Max. Speaking of which, One Battle After Another drops tomorrow on HBO Max, the new PTA film. If anybody slept on that while it was in theaters, I believe that Welcome to Derry is going to get another season, which is going to focus on a different time period, like 27 years earlier or something. And if the show proves to be successful enough, I think each season would be a different time period for that. I think, I'm not positive. I haven't watched the show yet. Maybe they didn't do that and they just covered all the different years in one season. But that's getting actually a 4K Steelbook release on May 5th. Surprised it's going to be that far out, but I'm like, cool. They're nice to see that they're still putting their shows out on physical. Well, I mean, I guess HBO usually does that anyway, at least for the time being. Because I don't know about you, but I don't really trust the CEO of Netflix. And he's like, oh, we're buying HBO, we're buying, Warner Brothers is getting into the theatrical business, but we want to shorten theatrical windows as well. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, those two things don't seem compatible. You shorten theatrical windows, it's going to kill even more incentive for people to go to the movies. And I don't know if that'll turn out well. And, their CEO has lied in the past, and he had every incentive to lie because he's trying to incentivize shareholders to go with he might be trying to incentivize them to go with Netflix, but I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. I did see the photos that they posted today where the chairman and CEO of Netflix went to visit Zaslav at Warner Brothers, and they're taking a walking tour around the back lot and taking all these pictures that they're posting everywhere, which is like a big fuck you to Paramount because it's like, hey, we're not taking your hostile takeover bid. We're getting in bed with Netflix. And again, I hate this because it's like with Warner Brothers and Discovery splitting up next year and Warner Brothers offloading all their debt on Discovery, because sadly, the reality TV empire that has become the Discovery empire, they can pay down Warner Brothers debt a lot faster than Warner Brothers can. So it's like, if you're offloading your debt and getting rid of that, which is just going to increase the prestige of your service because you're not going to have a bunch of crap like these shitty reality shows on the front page intermixed with Casablanca on your streaming service, then why are you selling the company? It's like, oh, it's just greed, corporate greed, as if the shareholders aren't wealthy enough. No, we need to sell and make even more money. I I wrote, I wrote that on the. I picked a stark red background on my Facebook page, and I said, I said, I said, fuck the WBD shareholders for selling to Netflix. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's just, oh God, it's annoying. Scott is on the opposite side. Scott is very optimistic about it. And he thinks I'm being overreactionary and alarmist about it. And I said, no, Scott, Netflix, their business model is not theatrical or home media. And yeah, the CEO admitted that today. He said, yeah, I mean, Netflix, our business isn't really theatrical, but that's why we want Warner Brothers to get into theatrical business. And I get it. You're paying $82.7 billion. Presumably, you're not buying all of that just so you can dump the content on your server, because how much will that really drive up? Will that really drive up subscriptions enough to make that money back? Probably not. And Netflix seems to have endless server space, so I don't see any excuse that they should have for not being able to fit the entire Warner Brothers catalog on their servers should they eventually fold HBO Max into Netflix, which I think is eventually going to happen. After all, Netflix people, subscribers, apparently got an email the day the sale was announced saying, oh, don't worry, nothing's changing today. And I said, well, if they're going to keep their word about keeping the services separate, then why would anything change at all? See? Well, it's because it is going to change. Eventually, HBO Max will probably be folded into Netflix, and it makes sense. Why run two separate streaming services like when you could just fold one into it? Much the same way that Disney is doing that with Hulu, where they own all of Hulu now, so they're going to fold Hulu into Disney Plus, which I think is a branding mistake because more people subscribe to Hulu and Hulu Live TV than Disney Plus. And since Bob Iger's gone out of the way, along with Bob Chapek for the last 6 years, to make people associate Disney Plus with family entertainment, that's just adding an extra menu that people have to get through to get to their Hulu shit. So I don't know if that's going to go as smoothly as I think it does, or as I think it will, even though it does make logical sense to fold the streamers together into one service, even though that'll probably jack up the price again. Unless they have it like, oh, if you want the Hulu stuff too, you can have it paid a separate tier, which would be more logical, I suppose. Because Netflix right now is like, if you want 4K with no ads, it's $25 a month. They don't have an annual plan, so that comes out to $300 a year, which is just insane. It's like, forget it. Not paying for that. And granted, every once in a while, or every year, I'm adding Netflix movies to my watch list. Not all of them, obviously, just the ones that are actually good, which is like, admittedly, like maybe 4 or 5 Netflix movies a year are worth watching, and they actually put out still good series. But I'm not watching any of them because I'm not subscribing to that channel again to pay that kind of money. I mean, there's so much content out there nowadays. It's like, I can afford to miss a bunch of shit. Even when my friends say, Kat, you gotta watch this, it's great, and then I see it winning a bunch of Emmys or whatever, and it's like, I'd like to watch it, but do I really want to pay $25 to watch like 1 or 2 things? No. So forget. And for that matter, I don't know what, HBO's been around for 50 years. They've had a lot of great stuff in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, but none of that stuff is on their server. It'd be great if they went back and remastered some of those old HBO originals and programs and stuff and put them on the server. I'll have to watch it. Oh my God, thank God somebody else just jumped on so we don't have to end this yet. And now you guys can see the background because I actually have somebody else here now. I kept this going for 58 and a half minutes. I'm glad you showed up. So.
Yeah, sorry. Just woke up from a nap. Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. I'm glad you're here because I've been just talking about all sorts of stuff.
All F1 related or just Brad Pitt related?
Just all sorts of stuff. The Netflix thing, some movies I got recently, F1, and just sports in general, and things like that.
Okay.
Or motorsports in general, I should say.
Gotcha. I saw some movies recently. If you want me to talk about them,
Sure, go for it.
I finally watched Wake Up Dead Man this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the first half hour, which was basically the setup, and I know the same studio made it, but it reminded me of Midnight Mass because it's centered around a figure with the title of Monsignor with Josh Brolin. And in the Midnight Mass series, the main character is the Monsignor and the antagonist, essentially.
Hmm.
I like the first half, and up to the point when we finally get to see Benoit Blanc enter, literally, into the church. I like that subtle effect with the sunlight and the clouds that to kind of signify the personality of Benoit Blanc, and you can kind of get a little bit of his upbringing. His mother was a very shrewd Catholic woman and didn't approve of his sexuality, so that's why he hates religion in general. At least that's how I took it. And then
Yeah.
you have Jock O'Connell's character, who's basically trying to bring back the light into the conversation about, well, might have been bad then, but there's still hope for the future. Like I kind of like that interaction. And then the movie just fizzles out after that. Like I don't know, it just felt like it was dragging on. And yeah, I kind of at one point figured something to the mystery, but then it just like the mystery just stopped not being the main issue. And I don't know, the movie just lost its way. I think I kind of gave up on expecting the original Knives Out, that fresh, energy of it. And I just went along for the ride, but that first section of the movie was good, but it was okay. I don't think
It,
I'll watch another one, but it wasn't that wow as far as the third section of the movie.
yeah, the first 45 minutes, which is when Blanc is not in it, it was good, but at the same time, I was kind of missing that he wasn't there because that's kind of the flavor for these kind of
Yeah,
movies. It's been
yeah,
fun. And I also feel that he has the least to do in all three of the in all three of them so far. He's very much a background character in this movie. He didn't really do much.
yeah.
Uh, but Josh
You know
O'Connor,
how you know how some movies, if you take out one character, nothing changes.
yeah, exactly. You take
I
Blanc
feel
out,
like you take
yeah,
Blanc out and everything would be revelatory eventually, and then I can totally see the Glenn Close and O'Connell just, just having a chat, and then he figures it out without really needing a detective involved.
yeah, and I do think this was the best mystery of the three because the first movie you figure it out in 40 minutes because they spoil it. Uh, at least most people, I think smart people probably figured it out in 40. It's easy to figure that one out. The sequel, it's like, okay, I'm on board watching this for the first 70 minutes, but then they segue into this like 38 minutes of flashbacks saying, oh, we were lying to you for the first part of the movie. And it's like, it's one thing if a character withholds information or if the detective doesn't find out about something or is misled. It's another thing when the editorial structure of the film is lying to you. I don't like that
Yeah,
as far as mysteries go. And when the flashbacks ended, you know who did it and what happened at the same moment. Blanc knows who did it, which I get that's the point. But then it dragged on for like another 40 minutes, and it's like, oh, it's too long. And yeah, skewering celebrity culture is great, but you run the risk of the characters being so obnoxious that you just kind of get annoyed with it. Uh,
yeah.
but this one, Josh O'Connor was really good as the lead character. I'm like, wow, he's really. I haven't seen him in much, so I
I
thought he was
liked him, but
really.
one thing about him that I have been noticing that he always looks like he's trying to contain a fart. Like he's always
I
straining.
don't, I don't notice that, but
That's just a sign. I've just noticed every time he always looks like he's like, "Ugh," like he's holding in something.
but this I thought was the best mystery. Like this one was harder to figure out, and I liked that.
Yeah.
But it's too long. 2.5 hours for this. It did not need to be that long. So yeah,
Yeah. Let's see. What else did I?
I liked it better than the second one, but I think the first one's still the best.
Yeah. The other thing I watched because I'm pulling up my diary of everything that I've been watching. I
Hmm.
ended up watching the animated movie The Witcher: Sirens of the Deep.
Hmm.
Kind of like an offshoot from the show. Around it came around the time between after Henry Cavill left the show and Liam Hemsworth took over, which nobody liked that season, unsurprisingly. But this movie, animation wise, is good, but I don't know who it was trying to rip off. If it was trying to rip off Disney's The Little Mermaid or the original source material of The Little Mermaid, because there is a section in this movie where the princess is with her auntie undersea, and she's like, "Man, I hate humans." And then she gets given a vial of having the ability to be turned from a mermaid into a human. And then the auntie starts singing, and I'm like, okay, come on. How is Disney not suing? but it was okay. It was just like it's like a 90-minute quick, colorful adventure into the Witcher series, which honestly I think the series would be better served if it were animated because in live action it's never been good. Even with Henry Cavill as the big Witcher nerd, it still wasn't that good of a series, unfortunately. And it had a
Hmm.
pretty good cast as far as the potential, but nah, it's
I've
unfortunate. It's like,
I've never seen any of it.
oh yeah, you don't have Netflix.
No.
Okay. I just figured
Yeah.
anybody watched. It
Oh yeah.
was whatever. I did watch Chloe Zhao's Hamnet, which
Mhm.
beautifully shot movie, well acted. I think Buckley is in a shoe in for a Best Actress nomination. Um, it's a sad movie. Like I think twice now the chef was chopping the onions in front of my face, and I was like, "Oh God, this movie." It's one of those movies that you can only watch once in like a decade or so because there's no reason you should be sitting and watching this. It's a pretty tragic movie. It's very sad. Like basically what inspired the play Hamlet. And I never read the book that was inspired for the movie, but like you see this family, they have a child passes away and then they have to basically deal with the loss, and William Shakespeare has to find his way to grieve, and then the mom has to find a way to grieve, which kind of like coalesces in the third act with the creation of Hamlet. And they even act out some of the scenes from the play. And I think one of the actors who plays the titular character, I've seen him as a child actor, and I just can't recall from where. But he's very recognizable. If you ever get to see the movie, you'll probably know who I'm talking about.
Well, he got the idea for the play from the Norse tale.
Oh yeah, well that's never brought up in this movie.
Of course not. For those who don't know, Robert Eggers' film *The Northman* is the an adaptation of an old Norse tale, the tale of Amleth, and Amleth meaning Hamlet with the H at the end, and no, the Norse one came first, and Shakespeare just took the letter H at the end and put it at the front, and he just changed the setting from medieval Norway to medieval England and applied his whole Shakespearean language to it. But it's pretty much the same story. Uh, so yeah, of course, this new movie, which is based on a novel, isn't going to mention that. So I don't know if it's rewriting history by just trying to pretend that he came up with it on his own, but we'll see. Or I guess, well, I don't know. Ernesto, is that kind of what goes on in that movie? Is he kind of like? Are they kind of making it seem like everything was sourced from what was going on in his life at the time?
It's really just centered about their life. It never once mentions or references anything about Norse mythology. And honestly, his wife is mostly the central figure. I think he's like second billing because I think she shares the lion's share of the screen time.
Mm,
Because the movie starts with her, then William comes in, and they both share equal screen time, but he's away most of the time because he's living in London trying to have his establish his career.
mm,
And you spend more time with the wife and the kids, and then he would come and go. So really
mm,
it's the wife's movie in
mm,
essence, the wife and the kids movie.
yeah,
But the way it's framed here, it's like the tragedy of their offspring is what inspires the play.
mm,
The way it's presented, I don't know, maybe in the book they kind of deviate and maybe address that, but I never read the source material for this adaptation.
mm.
Then I saw the Mads Mikkelsen movie Dust Bunny just randomly. I'm like, oh, it's a Mikkelsen movie, I'll go watch it. And it's like combining Tremors with a Goosebumps story, and it's basically this little girl who hires Mads Mikkelsen to assassinate a monster under her bed, and it's a literal manifestation of a dust bunny. Imagine a dust bunny the size of a graboid,
Okay.
and it's all in this apartment. And the creature has mystical powers. That how come if there's a monster under your bed, nobody heard it killing people? Because it's able to drown out all the noise. Nobody can hear from outside.
So is this like a comedy or a horror comedy or what?
It starts as a horror movie and it tries to be a dark comedy, but the jokes don't always land. And a lot of characters that are introduced, because Sigourney Weaver is in this movie, and she kind of plays like the handler to Mads Mikkelsen, but she's trying to be kind of like one of those like quirky bosses that is constantly saying smart ass shit just because I'm the boss, I'm in charge, and I'm better than you because I said so kind of personality. And she's fine, don't get me wrong, but it's like, okay, I know what type you're playing.
Mm.
And it's one of those where I'm like, okay, clearly magic is involved here, but it's very convoluted. Like I like the idea, I like the setup, I like the look of the movie, the design, the costumes, everything looks very unique to this movie. It feels like it was maybe adapted from a short story or a graphic novel because it has a very unique visual identity, but in execution I feel like it needed like another go at the script because characters are coming in, you don't know who they are, and then they start narrating who they are, what they're doing, and I'm like, wait, now you're involved? Wait, who's that motherfucker? Like,
Mm.
it's like if it either had more footage that was cut out for time, or I don't know, just need another rewrite. And there was potential for it to be a very unique horror, dark comedy in a way because when people get killed, there's a shootout scene with some assassins, and they keep being told, don't walk on the floor. It's kind of like the floor is lava because the dust bunny can sense you. This is where the Tremors comparison comes. The dust bunny can sense you when you're walking on the hardwood.
Mm.
So it was like it started okay, meandered, has a nice premise, but in execution, it's like eh. And it also doesn't have the budget to really look as good as it can. So it doesn't
Mhm.
show the dust bunny that much, but when it does show the dust bunny, you can see the green screen all over. Yeah. And then the next one I got around to seeing was The Roses.
Yeah.
And this movie felt like an SNL sketch running for like 90 minutes to 2 hours. Like this thing was so detached from reality. I don't know whether I was supposed to laugh, or if I'm just watching the SNL version of Scenes from a Marriage.
Right.
Like I don't, but first of all, there was this running gag with the kids being these physical superior athletic specimens that they were like doing these inhuman feats of athleticism where I'm just like, wait, am I still watching a romantic comedy or am I watching, I don't know, a superhero movie in the making? What's going on here?
Right. What did you
And
think?
that yeah.
What did you think of the ending?
Oh, I stopped.
You
I couldn't
stopped.
keep going. I stopped at the
Whoa.
moment I did. I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I stopped and I watched something else.
How far did you
What?
get?
Um, let's see. I'm trying to remember. I saw the part where he locks her in the room with the loud music and she burns the contract. I saw the part where she does where they start. They already met with Allison Janney's attorney. So, oh, the last scene I saw was after he meets Andy Samberg's wife, and she talks about cancer or something, and that was more or less around the time that I stopped.
Okay, the ending is pretty good, I have to say. Uh, I don't know if it
Well,
was worth
with
waiting.
everything I was watching, I don't think it would have mattered.
I thought the ending was pretty clever, but I don't know. Chat, I
I mean,
could
I can go
provide
back and
spoilers.
finish it, but I was like, meh.
I mean, yeah, you can. I mean, it's really not until the ending where they finally get into all the stuff in the trailer where they're really going at it. But I thought the last scene was really clever and funny. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, but that movie I thought was just okay because again, you have to get through like the first hour, 40 minutes to get there. Um,
Well, that first hour and 40 was a chore. I'm sorry.
yeah. So what'd you think of F1, which is a topic for tonight?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I know it's a cliche to say it now, but it really was Top Gun for F1. Uh, like the camera work, the in your face, high octane of being in the vehicle and watching how the world of F1 is. I found out that my dad watches F1 pretty regularly. I'm just like, what the fuck do you get out of watching cars going around in circles? That's really much was, and I know it's more than that. Before anybody jumps down my throat, I know it's more than that. I know you really need to have a certain skill to manage a piece of machine going that fast. I'm not dismissing that, but I've never been interested in watching people in a fast car going in circles. That's never been really something I really want to watch.
Well, F1 isn't really the circular track. That's more like NASCAR.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like okay, but it really felt like I was watching a more in the what's the word, what's the term, in the passenger seat version of Ford v Ferrari.
Okay.
Because Ford v Ferrari is more character driven. This one is more let's show off the tech, basically.
Mm.
And on that it succeeds. I think Brad Pitt's character is very charming. I think the supporting cast is charming. I enjoy Javier Bardem as the promoter. I think it was a fun movie. I took my dad to see it on the IMAX screens, and we both had a good time watching it.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was cliche and cheesy for the plot and the story, but I
It
liked
was
the
effective.
huh?
It was effective.
Eh, kind of.
Thank you.
And then I was talking with the Herc and Ballerina were in the chat, and they mentioned how the editing for a lot of the racing wasn't very good because there were way too many cuts. It's like you got to let it breathe because the fact that they actually mounted IMAX cameras on the side of the car, it's like that's doing the action for you on its own. It's like you don't need to have a million cuts when you're doing something that insane because it's just so awesome and looks just you just look at the footage, kind of like when George Miller makes a Mad Max movie. He has so many wide master shots and just lets the action speak for itself instead of inserting too many cuts. Uh, and so with this, I also felt they were trying to cover too many races. I know it's supposed to be the second half of the season, but it's like I feel that a lot of the races were kind of like montages just about because they're just trying to cover way too much. Like maybe it would have been better if the whole movie was just covering like maybe one or two races, or instead of having Sonny be such an apathetic character, maybe have there be one race in particular that he's got unfinished business with that he wanted to win, maybe. Because it's like everybody keeps asking him throughout the movie, why are you back here? And it's not just to help Ruben. And what are you chasing? And he never really answers the question. And he's so blasé about it that it's like I can't really figure it out either. Even though I like the character, and even the quote unquote bad guy in the movie's like I like him. It could be really cool and rebel for the brand. uh, but yeah, it was still it was an enjoyable movie, but not my favorite. I think Top Gun Maverick was better by the same director.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that movie, but for what they were going for as a very straightforward um, sports action movie, if you want to call it, it was. I liked it. I liked that it was just
Mhm.
here. This is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. And when you know that's what you're gonna get, honestly, that's all we needed,
Yeah.
specifically for what they were selling.
So you got to tell me. So how many stars would you give it out of 5?
F1.
Yeah,
Oh, I give it a 4.
a 4. Yeah, I was teetering between a 3 and a 3.5 for this one.
Yeah.
Um,
This is one of those movies that I can gauge with my dad together, and we both kind of. If me and my dad are in sync with a movie, it means that we're both really, really, really into it.
that's good.
So that's why I give it a 4. It's the movie to take your dad with. That's
Yeah,
basically
that's true.
it's
I
it.
did the same
That's what
thing.
it is.
Yeah, I did the same thing, but I didn't get to see it in IMAX. But I think it did get an IMAX re-release briefly in October. But so
And the
question.
thing with the
Oh,
IMAX is that the IMAX, because my dad lives 90 minutes away from me, so my dad basically left to go pick me up, and then he and I drove another 90 minutes to where the really big, authentic IMAX is, which is where I saw the first Avatar movie back in 2009 before I moved to Arizona. And then when I told my dad, oh, yeah, we're going to go to the IMAX. Where's the IMAX? Oh, it's going to be here. And he looks at me and just like, Ernesto, why is it that every time you want to take another movie, you have to drive all the way out there? I'm like, because it's a good time. You're my dad. I want to make sure we have the best time possible. So we are going to drive the extra 90 minutes. We are going to get in the fucking car, and you're going to like it. Like Jesus Christ, man! What does a kid have to do to tell his dad, "Let's go watch the movie"?
Well, 90 minutes is a long way to drive to go see a movie.
It is, but when there's the demand, we will go.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Yes.
why are you seeing Avatar at 11 o'clock at night tonight?
The short answer, it's the only time that makes sense, and because I have Fridays off.
Oh, okay. Man, that's insane. But wouldn't it be better to just go on a Friday?
It would, but I do a lot of stuff on my times off, and taking away 3 hours from those stuffs during the day, it would be
Oh,
better
yeah.
to do it at night.
That's
And
true. So you'll be getting
normally,
home
before,
around 4:30 in the morning then.
depends on how quickly I drive back.
No, that's true.
Because usually around that time, the roads are pretty open, so I turn into a speed demon for a bit.
Yeah, I was supposed to go today, but then Dad hooked up the trailer to the car because they're gonna take one of his cars down to the sandblaster tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I'll go see it tomorrow morning at 10:30, and then I'll follow that
Yeah.
up when it gets out and see The Housemaid at 2:15, and maybe for shits and giggles see the SpongeBob movie at 4:30. Because why not? Bernie and I were talking about it because we passed a bunch of memes, and then I sent that really disturbing video the other day from Samsung TV Plus.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe I
remember
didn't
when
see
they
it.
released the. I remember when they released the first SpongeBob movie. They were still using traditional 2D animation with some
Yeah, and I
3D, and
think it
now it's
looked.
gone full 3D.
Yeah, I think the 2D animation looks so much better too. I don't know why they're doing this. It looks like a cross between claymation and 3D. It's very weird.
I think I haven't watched it because it's Paramount Plus exclusive. I mean, I do have access to Paramount Plus, but I think when they launched Paramount Plus, I think a few years later they released the same animation that this movie has, but one when SpongeBob goes to summer camp when he's a kid.
Oh yeah, Camp Coral.
Yeah, so I think it has like the same animation studio making the feature.
And Paramount actually took one of their SpongeBob originals for Paramount Plus and made it available to rent or stream on other or rent or purchase digitally on other retailers, which was nice, unlike the Netflix
Yeah,
ones. And I'm not sure why
yeah.
Paramount ever made a deal for them with Netflix because Paramount's always owned Nickelodeon, so I don't know why they let Netflix make a few exclusive SpongeBob films, but they
Yeah,
did.
maybe it was one of those. Well, it probably has to do with whoever was in charge at the time, and they wanted to, because Paramount was hemorrhaging money, so maybe they were just trying to get as
Yeah,
much as they could.
because there was one as recently as this past March, uh, where the plot is like Plankton pisses off Karen for the last time, and she goes into this default mode, which turns her into like computer Godzilla terrorizing the
Oh,
city.
okay.
Uh, but
That's actually a nice plot because Plankton at times would kind of like get a little bit mean with her. I'm just like, bro, one of these days she's going to spank you.
yeah, they've
She
done
may
that
be
on the
your
TV
robot
show as
wife,
well.
but she doesn't need to take. She may be your robot wife, but she won't take that abuse for long.
Yeah, they did that on the TV show once too. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, okay, here's a good question. Since today's Brad Pitt's birthday, what's your favorite Brad Pitt movie?
Uh, hmm.
That's a hard one.
Well, I would say movies because I like him best in the Ocean's trilogy.
Uh huh.
But singular Brad Pitt movie, the one, and this is probably not going to be one you expect me to say, but the one I've had the most fun watching him in is Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Really? That's I didn't
He
expect.
because I don't know the chemistry with him and Jolie on screen, despite what would happen years later, they're having so much fun together, and I like him. He's very expressive there. He's like, you know what? I can hang out with him because in other movies he's got to stick up his ass because he's a pretty boy.
Yeah, God, I'm tempted to say things like Seven or Fight Club, but you're right. The Ocean's movies, he's really great in the Ocean's movies. I just want to follow him around for one of those. But I'm also partial to Benjamin Button. I thought that was a really great role uh,
Oh yeah,
that he
I
had.
like that movie, but I like it because it's an ensemble, and I like it
Right.
more as a whole than just because it's him.
Yes, agreed.
And
Uh,
it's one of those movies that I remember watching and I'm thinking, this does not look like it's going to work. And I went and saw it, and that movie worked. And I walked away going, wow, did not expect it to be that good.
mhm. Especially given how awful the original story is. God, it's
Well,
like
that's a good,
one.
that's where you have to be a captain of the ship and adapt the hell out of that thing.
Well, yeah, the original is only like a couple pages long, and he's kind of an asshole because you're growing in reverse basically, so you're more intelligent and assholes to people when you're because you're so much smarter than all the other people around his age and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, they really turned that into something special. That
Yeah, it's like childlike wonder, but at the same time, he's still a grown man just going in reverse.
mm,
And it's also one of my favorite Taraji P Henson roles because
yes, absolutely.
she's done a lot of movies and she's a very good actress. Don't get me wrong, but she was doing a lot of Tyler Perry stuff, and that was one of the first ones where it's like, oh, so when you actually get a good script, you actually know what the fuck you're doing. Good. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, agreed.
And um, the second one that I would like from him, even though you asked what my favorite one, the second one is the one that is like the most controversial because it takes a lot of liberties in adaptation. Is Troy,
Oh yeah,
one of the last gray sword and sandals in the genre of its time.
that's true. I,
Because
wa- I,
after that the next sword and sandal was Alexander, and then it would be years and years before you start seeing more, but those aren't very good.
right. Yeah, like I think Clash of the Titans reboot was after that.
Yeah, that one was fine, but it got bogged down by, because it was 3D was a big thing, so that movie was solely made just for the 3D, and it wasn't even that good 3D.
Yeah, and so I guess the Odyssey will be the next big one for that.
Yeah, which I
Uh,
probably won't be able to see because all the IMAX tickets sold out.
Oh, they'll sell. They're going to extend that. They did the same thing with Oppenheimer. It sold out so quickly that they extended it for another month. And since it's shot on IMAX cameras, that means it has priority over any other movie.
Yeah,
That's the one caveat that because the thing is, IMAX doesn't own theaters. They lease their technology to theaters. But what they tell
yeah,
them is that they say make it clear to the other studios that we have priority. So even if you have a pre-existing contract, we come first if you want to keep that equipment. So if one of
exactly.
our movies is doing exceptionally well, you extend it and tell the other guys sorry. So I fully expect them to have more Odyssey IMAX tickets available, but I probably won't be seeing it in IMAX until I get back from my Comic-Con trip next year, uh,
Oh, that's cool.
which is the week after it releases. So, but I might just see it in a regular theater first. Are you seeing Avatar in IMAX?
Limax, but IMAX
Well,
sound.
they might play the first 6 minutes of the Odyssey then, because that's what they're doing on the IMAX shows.
Is that on top of the 30-minute commercials or embedded
Uh,
in there?
I I don't know because they're only doing it for IMAX.
Okay. And
But
correct me if I'm wrong, but you sent me a link last night, was it, or 2 days ago, that they're going to be fluctuating 4 different trailers for Avengers.
yes, but Steve forwarded a story this morning from Superhero Hype saying some people in other markets had already seen the movie and were upset because they didn't play the Avengers trailer, but then others did play it because they were posting, confirmed this person's going to be in the movie after all, or blah, blah, blah. So some theaters are getting it and others aren't, and I don't know why that is.
So basically, they desperately dupe some people.
Basically, yeah. So, uh,
Which, by the way, I know this happened for Spider-Man 3 way back when. But if you're paying a full price movie ticket just for a trailer, that's on you.
oh yeah, for sure, especially in today's day and age, because those 4 trailers are going to be released formally online maybe within a few
Yes,
weeks.
it's like, come on, the bubble burst a long time ago. Stop that.
Yeah. Ballerina chimes in and says, "I think 300 is the greatest one ever made of the swords and sandals genre." Um, I'll be honest.
You
I
know,
I think I I wish 300 had been a historical adaptation of the real event rather than the comic book, but that's just me.
but it was fun as hell.
Yeah, I just didn't like the look. Everything looked
And,
like every shot looked like it was CGI on a green screen, and that just really bugged me.
oh, but back then, for my age at the time, that was bliss. And
Yeah, a lot of
that's the
people
movie
loved
that
it.
put Gerard Butler on the map. That's the one that put him on the map.
Yeah, I remember I was a senior year of high school when that came out, and that was everybody loved that. I was the only one who was kind of like, eh.
Yeah. Oh, funny story about that. You know the scene where the misshapen Spartan goes to Xerxes to betray Leonidas? He
Yeah.
walks into the menagerie of the orgy and everything, and there's this guy that has a goat body.
Okay.
So one of my friends, God bless her, she's like, "What's that?" And my friend's like, "A cow." No, it's a goat. Then why the fuck are you asking? And it was just the eight of us in the movie theater because we caught that one showtime in the middle of the afternoon that nobody went to see it, so it was just us eight, so we had the whole theater to ourselves. So when he said that out loud and the acoustics were all at high tuned, and he said,
Yeah,
"What the fuck are you asking?" I started laughing and I couldn't stop laughing until the next scene.
that's great.
Good times, man. Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should probably do a Swords and Sandal episode.
We should, especially since it seems like me mostly flying solo or whatever on the show nowadays. Speaking of which, I keep
Oh,
forgetting
but
that we got to
we should
start.
do one in, but we should do one in Lita for Odyssey. Just do a Swords and Sandal discussion.
Yes, and I keep forgetting that we've got to get our Batman show on back on track. Where we
Yes,
were
we
going to
do.
review comics. I keep forgetting to do that.
Yes.
I have the thumbnail
You
and
know what?
everything. So
Yeah, and you know what? Right now is a perfect time. We can jump into Absolute Batman, which is hot right now.
yeah, I'll see if I got that. Uh, I'll have to check. Oh, here comes Daniel's hot topic. Says faster, faster, faster. That's what she said. Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh well, you're here. Nice to see you here, Daniel. A little late to the party. I think we're getting close to wrapping up. Some people have dropped in. Ballerina, thank you for being here the whole time. Herc130 was here for a while. Lemon Pie dropped in to say hello. DJ Play Nice jumped in to help boost the algorithm with all the likes and shares and subscribes. So that was fun. Uh,
I have two more movies I can talk about real quick.
oh, yeah, please do.
I saw Frankenstein, Guillermo del
Oh, yeah.
Toro's.
Hmm.
I agree. Gorgeous movie. Oh
Yeah.
my god, it was a lot. It was prettier than Crimson Peak, and that movie was pretty too.
Yeah.
Gorgeous movie. I don't think it dragged. I think I absorbed every second of it. I liked that it had two points of view. You had the point of view of Victor, and you had the point of view of the monster. But man, Victor is an asshole in this movie.
Oh, big time.
Like, good lord, man, you're an asshole. Not a single moment of redemption for you.
Not at all.
Like,
uh,
is that how he is in the source material? A complete asshole?
no, it wasn't written especially that way, but I think it's still the way they wrote it, given that it was an early 19th century novel, it was still supposed to convey that the arrogance of how he just didn't care and thought he had total ownership over the creature and all of that type of stuff. And,
Like, he
Del
turned
Toro's
into his
obviously writing it.
father.
Well, Del Toro's
Yeah,
obviously writing it for a modern audience.
okay.
Uh, but I don't
Yeah,
remember if they had all the stuff in there about the family. I think some of it was there. I don't think the whole thing. Um, it's been a long time since I've read it, so I'd have to go back and read it again. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job showing just how cruel and how much of an arrogant, egotistical jerk Victor was.
yeah, he definitely turned into his father, which, by the way, fun fact, Charles Dance twice now has played Victor Frankenstein's father in this movie and I, Frankenstein with James McAvoy.
Mm. Ballerina says Frankenstein visuals were eye popping. The mother's funeral scene was amazing on the eyes. Yeah.
Oh man, everything from the set design. I like the creature design. I like that the creature design was basically inspired by the engineers from Prometheus, basically.
Let's see.
But I liked it. I liked it very much. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah. Sorry, just no reason to apologize, Daniel. That's cool. Nice to see you here, though. Ballerina says Victor got bored with what he created when he realized his creation wasn't what he had in mind. That's very true. He wasn't like it's almost like he wasn't really proud of his creation because it didn't measure up to his ideal, his what he thought his standards should be. But yeah, very good. What's the other movie?
Also, the other movie I saw was Elio, the Pixar movie.
Oh yeah.
The beginning was annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Then after a while, it's like, okay, I see where you're going with this. But then by the end of it, I'm just like, this would have worked better as a short story and not a full length movie, because
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of padding just for the whole message of, hey, it's okay to be different. Yes, you went through a tragedy, but that doesn't mean that the world ended. I
Yeah.
get it. But it was doing a lot just for that. And it was like, this would have worked as one of those like like a very short Pixar intro that you usually
Mm-hmm.
see. Like that would have been much better served that way.
Yeah.
So it was fine. It was cute, but really not up to the Pixar standard. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
last one I saw was Eternity,
Mm-hmm.
which you saw already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much knew how it was gonna go, but man, there were times where I feel like the movie was being a little bit too mean to the Miles Teller character. Because I'm like, okay, I get it. She's has an opportunity to live a life with her first husband that she missed out on, but you don't have to goad it so much. Like every single joke was at the expense of the second husband. I'm like, guys, please, a little mean. I
Yeah.
know it's for comedy, but goddamn. But it was very nice. I like the creativity. But yeah, it did answer one of those questions I did ask you when you brought it up, like, do they address this or they address that? But it was like, you know what, this is kind of sweet. I didn't like some of the other stuff, especially with the jokes at the husband expense, but for the most part, I thought it was a very sweet movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last thing I saw was not a movie, but it was the 4-part documentary of Puff Daddy,
Mm-hmm.
which, my takeaway was like, yeah, you did everything that people are accusing you of. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't planning on seeing it, because it's been this growing trend with Peacock, with Netflix, with Paramount, and everybody else, that when there's a major uh, incident in a celebrity's life, or someone that's being tried for murder or something or whatever, like it takes a few months, and all of a sudden there's a trailer for a documentary about it. I'm just like, wow, that took you no time at all to do that. And it always feels like, wait, I feel like you guys are just capitalizing on this for the wrong reasons, and so I always avoid them. But this one, since I wasn't planning on watching it, I saw this interview with 50 Cent, and the entire time I'm listening, I'm like, oh my God, this is the pettiest shit I've ever seen. I gotta watch this. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
And now I understand the meme of 50 Cent. Go into 2026 like 50 Cent. Be petty as fuck. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've seen so far. And now I'm gonna go watch Avatar, Fire and Ash, which under normal circumstances I would have probably left work right away and go watch the 7 o'clock showing. But now that I have a dog and a cat to take care of, now I watch something later in the day where the animals are tired and sleeping, and now I can have the time to myself.
Nice.
So yeah, Catherine is right. Movie starts at 10:45, but with trailers and commercials, it'll probably start like around 11:15, 11:20. So I might get home around 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Man. That'll be something. And you'll probably be going to bed and then getting up around the time my screening starts tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'll probably only be able to sleep 1 hour, because at 5 o'clock the dog's gonna be barking. Let's go, let's go. I'm like, all right, I'm coming.
Oh God. All right. Well, I guess that's about it for the show. Yeah, we've had fun. Everybody
I gotta
being here.
sign off because now I'm gonna drive the rest of the way.
Okay, see you, Resto. So, thanks everybody in the chat. Ballerina, Daniel's Hot Topics, Herc130, Lemon Pie, DJ Play Nice. You guys are all fantastic. Thanks for coming. And yeah, I think we will be back. Hopefully, Christmas. We're gonna have a Christmas party, or presumably we will, because we don't really do anything on Christmas night after Christmas dinner. So we'll probably have a little Christmas party. Steve will actually be here for that, so it'll be fun. And we get his take on things he's seen lately, and just have fun. So thanks for coming, and I will catch all of you hopefully next week with more movie reviews. See ya.